Fieldcraft is the art of combining camouflage with making the best use of ground and cover, so that you can see without being seen and kill without being killed. In nearly every position and every situation, the uncamouflaged man is easily visible because of the outline of his equipment, the shape and light-reflecting qualities of his steel helmet, the color and texture of his face, neck and hands, and, of course, the shape of his weapons. Now let's take a closer look at these problems, one by one, and see how we can best deal with them. First, the helmet. We have lost the shine by using a Hessian cover. Then a net goes on top of that. And finally, some scrim, plus foliage from your background. Makes a great difference, doesn't it? To conceal the natural color of the face, camouflage cream, burnt cork, or anything similar should be applied to the forehead, nose, cheekbones, and chin. Just enough to break up the whiteness, and don't forget your neck and hands. Hessian or scrim wrapped round the rifle will dull any shine and conceal the shape. Care must be taken not to obstruct the sights or the loading and cocking mechanism. Your face veil, garnished with scrim and natural foliage, and strung across your equipment, will effectively hide the shape. Here again, the main points to remember. Helmet, Hessian, net, scrim and foliage. Skin, anything to break up the whiteness. Equipment, disguise shape with scrim, foliage and face veil. Rifle, Hessian or scrim, and close check that the sights and loading and cocking mechanism are clear. The result? Good. So much for personal camouflage. Good camouflage makes you less conspicuous on the battlefield, but it can be a waste of effort unless you also learn the art of concealment. And that means making the best use of available ground and natural cover. No matter how good your personal camouflage, if you take up a position silhouetted against a contrasting background like this, or like this, or like this, you'll never find out what you did wrong. So, as to concealment, put yourself against an uneven background such as a hedge, bushes, trees, or broken ground. Shadow can also provide a very useful background. It not only gives you cover, but also conceals your own shadow. Only remember that shadows can be dangerous too. For when the sun moves, your shadow moves with it. And this sort of thing can easily happen. It's a dead sure giveaway, and dead is the operative word. Now let's change the picture from what the enemy was looking for to what you are looking for. Always remember, your life may depend on your being able to see without being seen. So never, repeat, never stick your head up to see over your cover. Choose a position where you can look through the cover so that you blend with your background. You can see just as well, and it's much safer. If you have to see over a wall, make sure not to break the straight line of the edge of the wall. Here's another example of what not to do. That's better. So if you can't see through your cover, then take a position where you can see around it. The enemy is sure to watch very closely any isolated cover such as this. Therefore, avoid it. It is too easy a target for the enemy to direct and concentrate his fire on. If you are well camouflaged and have picked the right background, you'll be much safer in the open, like this man here. Or like this man. Uh-oh, but not if you make a sudden movement like that. In the open, you must take every movement slowly and cautiously, no matter how well you are otherwise concealed. Remember, movement attracts the eye. The same principles of camouflage and concealment hold good in any climate, whether in the heat and glare of the desert or in sub-zero country like this. Besides personal camouflage and concealment, you also have to learn to choose a good firing position, one where you are able to handle and fire your weapons accurately. After all, there's no point in being well concealed if you haven't space to use your weapon effectively on the enemy. Good firing position means having cover from fire, as well as cover from view. This man here has a good arc of fire and complete freedom to use his weapons. He's well hidden and inconspicuous, and if he has to change his position, he has cover available. This is another good firing position. The fold in the ground provides cover from fire and cover from view. Again, there's a good arc of fire and freedom to use his weapons. In cover like this, get as much protection as you can by keeping low and holding your weapon so that the muzzle barely clears the top of the cover. Once again, if he has to change his position, there's cover available. If you have to fire from soft cover, then rest your wrist and forearm on it. But in hard cover, rest the rifle as near as possible to where your hand would normally be. Always fire round to the right side of cover if you can. You are less of a target for the enemy to see. But if shadow should give you better cover on the left side, then take full advantage of it. And if there's a brick wall, remove a few bricks near ground level so you can fire through the wall. A wall this thick may not give protection from fire, but it's useful for concealment. Fieldcraft also is knowing how to use ground, so that you can close with the enemy, so that you can occupy and leave positions without being seen or shot at. If it's at all possible, always crawl under any obstacle. But if there's a gap in cover like this, and you must cross open ground, then the quicker you can cross, the less likely you are to be seen and shot while doing it. A hedge isn't bulletproof, so move on as fast as possible. Approaching the enemy through woods or similar cover, keep all-round observation. Walk with head up, completely on the alert, and weapons at the ready for instant use. Getting closer to the enemy position, indicated here by the arrow, before moving from one point to another, choose carefully the best route for your purpose. First, choose your next position, a good fire position from which you can kill the enemy. Then choose the best route to get to it. Speed is vital, so move quickly when you can. It's better to take risks early rather than late. Different types of cover need different methods of approach. This is called the monkey run. Rifle held at the point of balance in the left hand. The movement is quite fast. Where cover is scarce, you will have to move more cautiously. Here, it's best to do the leopard crawl. That means using alternate elbows and knees, rolling the body slightly as you bend each knee. In completely open ground like this, which has to be taken extremely carefully, it's best to use the kitten crawl, hugging the ground, moving very slowly, using elbows and toes, and trying to show as little body as possible. Great care should always be taken over the last few yards, so if possible, observe the enemy most carefully before moving, even more cautiously, into your firing position. Avoid sudden movement of bushes or cover which might catch the eye of the enemy. To master the vital art of fieldcraft, it's not enough to be expert in handling any kind of modern weapon. You must develop to perfection the instincts and the split-second reactions of the professional hunter. Now, let's just recap quickly. You have seen how to deal with personal camouflage. Helmet, hessian, net, scrim and foliage. Skin, anything to break up the whiteness. Equipment, disguise shape with scrim and foliage. Rifle, hessian or scrim, check sights, and loading mechanism clear. You have been shown how not to give yourself away once you've camouflaged yourself. Remember, always look through, not over cover. Remember to look round if you can't look through. Avoid breaking straight lines. Make good use of shadow. And avoid isolated cover. Fieldcraft is indeed individual. And though the army will teach you the know-how, it's up to you to add your own individual blend of courage, good common sense, and natural cunning, in order to see without being seen, and to kill without being killed.